intimidated by the press. He knows the language very well. He's a very, very intelligent young man and speaks well. And now he's able to talk to the press and just go through what an athlete has to go through.
Off the draw, Lemieux back on the line, 4 foot. And Joseph sets it up for Boris Mironov. Oilers fail to clear it. Kamensky now for Forsberg off a stick. And it stays in play. Kamensky bumps with Mironov. The puck comes free. Here's Forsberg. Great move. Backhander and a save. It's loose now in front. And the Oilers' Richardson is on it. Penalty coming up here against the Avalanche. As Buchberger fires it in. And as Watt touches it. Our first call of the game against the Avalanche.
Interesting. I think there's going to be a couple of calls. I think Claude Lemieux, 22, for the Avalanche is going to go off for the initial call, but I think Forsberg and Buchberger, pardon me, are going to be going off also. Referee. No, not Forsberg. There's a penalty right there. Watch this brilliant play by Peter Forsberg. My goodness, he just, Buchberger, he is a very good defensive player, big and strong, and he's able to just turn around and go to the outside.
Well, not a great discipline penalty by Buchberger. He knew Lemieux was going off, and then he came down the ice and did something, and there will be 4-on-4.
He gave Forsberg a little shot, and the referee was right there. Now, the Edmonton, right from the end of game 1, we're saying we have got to hit 2 people a lot more. Forsberg and Sakic. But that probably wasn't the time that Ron Lowe wanted him to hit Forsberg.
So 4-on-4 here. The Avs scored a 4-on-4 goal in game 1. That one by AVALANCHE. No score here in the first period. Now the Oilers, the rookie, Dan McGillis, gets it near the Avs line. And flipped up by Kucherov now to center. Lemieux a tripping minor. Buchberger for unsportsmanlike conduct. Now Doug Weight, number 39. And his pocket picked, and the puck slides to center. And Mironov trying to dump it in, knocked down by Ozolic. 4 Oilers are back. Ozolic between the legs to Sakic. Taken down. Ozolic taken down. No call. Fawcett looking right at it. And here comes Edmonton. Andrei Kovalenko. He's got some room, drops it for Mironov. And Kovalenko in foot. Of course, teammates last year here with the Avalanche. And Forsberg gears it up in his own line, overskates it. And that's Lindgren down his off wing. Fresh shot and a shoulder save by Waugh. And it's over the glass.
Well, Lindgren, who was very aggressive in game 1, very impressive. They do have an impressive group of rookies, Edmonton. And not a lot of guys you've heard a lot about yet. But these are big, strong guys that make it tough. Here's Ozolic. Nice little pass to Sakic. Ozolic now with 3 goals, 5 assists in the playoffs. He's tied with Boris Mironov of the Anaheim. And with 8 points to lead all defensemen, yet he doesn't feel he's playing that well yet.
Does he ever?
No. We talked about it last game. Very tough on himself. Very critical. A lot of times he goes home after games where he doesn't feel he plays well, just doesn't sleep. And, that's tough in the playoffs because it's every other night.
17:50 to play. First period, no scoring. 40 seconds left in the minors to Lemieux and Buchberger. And the puck near the line, held in by rookie Brian Muir. He's in the lineup tonight for Edmonton. Brian Marchment has been benched. So switch on defense for Ron Lowe.
The Avalanche are going with exactly the same lineup they went with last game. 7 in the lineup with no Jones.
Forsberg cutting to the middle and nearly made another, can you believe it, kind of plays. Now Smith, 3-on-2, drops it, and a drive by Muir, rebound! And it was put wide by Arnott with Waugh scrambling back. On the line, Muir, another shot, save again by Waugh. Now Smith back on the line. Bannister a drive and a save by Waugh. And Lemieux out of the penalty box. He gets to center. Team's back to full strength. Lemieux trying to go wide on Muir. He's a big guy, 220 pounds. Gobbled up by Sakic. He's running the corner boards by Bannister. And around the far wing now for Buchberger. Teams back to full strength, no score here in the first period.
It's early, but we've seen both clubs have good forechecking shifts where they've created some chances.
Now Luke Richardson to an open corner. And now back for Richardson. And the puck tipped off the board by Marchand. Brought in by Doug Waite. He'll slow it up. Trying to go across the slot area. Knocked away, and Sakic gets it out. The captain, the first of a fave. And from center, he missed the goal, and now the Avs make a quick change. And Marchand with that great speed down the left wing side. He'll dump it in. And Freer bangs in behind the goal. Taken out at John Clem. On the wing, DeFries kept it in. Now Mike Keane right in front of his own goal. And it's picked up by Ozolinsh. Here comes Clem now for the Avalanche. And that will roll harmlessly down the ice. And icing called against Colorado. Good hard-hitting start to this one, no score.
Being out because of the injuries.
Tonight's healthy scratch for the Avalanche, as Peter mentioned, the same lineup, so Yves Thoreau is watching. Eric Messier has been returned to Hershey.
Did you see the game Hershey had last night? Got a record for penalty minutes. They had one separate altercation and over 200 minutes in penalties.
Now the Avs in Toronto, and a great chance there for Sakic, along with Deadmarsh. Now Deadmarsh down low. Gets some help from Young. Right behind the goal by DeFries. And now the Avalanche do some tough hitting down low. But the puck is shot down the ice. And this will be an icing call.
Well, the Avalanche, the man has been Joe Sakic. John, of the 29 playoff games the Avalanche have played in Colorado, he's had a point in 26. Only 3 games has he not scored in. And I mean, that's the kind of consistency. 19 of the 22 last year, all 7 this year. Leads everybody in points, leads everybody in assists so far in the playoffs. I mean, he really comes to the forefront. And you love to see guys like this that accept the challenge and perform. I mean, it is remarkable how he does it.
A year ago, he had a 10-game point scoring streak in the playoffs. Led all players with 18 goals and 34 points. En route to the Conn Smythe Trophy, given to the MVP of the postseason. No score, just past the 5-minute mark in the first period. The Oilers earn it, tips it now to Buchberger, in for Smith, catches up to it, a shot, on goal, and Patrick got the legs closed. Peter, you mentioned the Hershey game last night in the American Hockey League. Over 300 minutes and penalties, and both goaltenders got into a fight like the Buffalo game. What is it with all these goaltenders getting in scraps?
Well, you know, you have to wonder, did Patrick Waugh is the best goaltender. Everyone considers him the best. Maybe he started the trend with that fight he had in Detroit. So if Patrick does it, then we all got to do it, because that was a great brawl they had in Buffalo last night. Shields and Snow. I think Snow was a little surprised that Shields could throw him the way he could.
Joseph had a great fight a couple of years ago against Detroit in the regular season. I think he pounded Osgood. So in bold to get in scraps. Here the Oilers, a wraparound try, and Waugh made the save. And it turns back to center, and now a whistle. Get a stoppage in play. You know who was in goal last night for Hershey? Not LeBay. He was pulled because Hershey lost the game. The series, by the way, is tied 1-1, and they play tonight. But the goalie who played in DU last year, Willahame, or I'm not even sure how you pronounce his name.
I know who you're talking about. I apologize. I know exactly who you mean. He turned pro, gave up his last year of eligibility to turn pro, and was floating around, was finally signed by the Colorado Avalanche, the Hershey Bears.
And he's the one who was involved in the scrap. 14-15 to go here in the first period. No scoring. Now the Oilers break in. Wade and Marchand. To Marchand. A shot. Oh, and a save by Waugh on Marchand, who had a partial break, had to contend with a bouncing puck. Now back on the line, Mironov, a rocket, and that was wide. And tipped to center by Mike Keane. And Mironov, he's got 6 points in these playoffs, but Mironov also -6. Kovalenko back to Marchand. Oh, and a right skate save by Waugh. And the Avs work it up the middle. Stefan Yell. Joseph had it go off his glove and just wide. And Mironov again. Intercepted by Clem. Now Young with Deadmarsh. Young going wide. In the goal crease area. And out the other side. Oslund trying to hold it in. He can't. And Marchand scoops it on to Kelly. Scoring chances so far favoring the Oilers.
But this is a better both team pace than last game. Edmonton seems to have settled down. Their game plan was to be faster. They've done that so far in the first part of this hockey game, the first 7 minutes.
Sakic on a 2-on-2 break. Can't get around McGillis. Eric Lacroix bangs to the corner. But the Oilers work it up the boards and Steve Kelly. And filtered in deep by Rem Murray. This is Aaron Miller now for the Avalanche.
The most in the league, as they have mainly scored here at home with those great numbers.
They've outscored the opposition 21-2 in their 4 home games, including 11-1 in the first period. Now Muir back of his goal for Edmonton. Brian Muir, his first action of the series. Lemieux, a big hit on Arnott. Now Muir trying to get away, he does. And the Oilers, that's onside they rule. But the Avs get back and break it up. Forsberg, nice pass for Kamensky. He left it, no one was there. And now Smith straddles the center ice red line and fires it in. Dumped around the boards by Kucherov, and it got by Muir with 12 minutes to go in the first period. No score. Shot 7-3 for Edmonton. Here's Smith. Cross corner dump in. Now back to the right wing boards for Adam Foote. Here comes Sakic. Ridden off the puck in the corner by Richardson. And the Swede, Lindgren, on for Tchaikovsky. He had a couple of good chances in game 1. Of course, the only goal was scored by Bookberger. On the giveaway from behind the goal by Waugh. And Deadmarsh rips it off the boards. Slowed down a bit here in the last 3 minutes.
But John, we talked about the first 10 minutes being such a key for Edmonton. Well, we've got 9 minutes gone, and the Avalanche really haven't had that many good scoring opportunities in this game.
Tchaikovsky goes along with his center. He's trying to find it, but the Oilers control it. Richardson now to McGillis, and Greer will chop it in. And there's Waugh again, playing the puck ahead. Good job by the goaltender. And Mike Keane. Ricci digs in behind the goal. Now to Keane, can't center it. Here's Yell after it. This line has been absolutely terrific in the 97 postseason.
You know, they don't get a lot of credit. They do the dirty job. They're out against the other club's top scoring line. And then, of course, Yell and Keane kill the penalties. Ricci's on the power play. But as a unit, they work so well defensively.
Aaron Miller back to the Avalanche. 10:15 to go in the opening period. Now Miller again. Don't forget, Edmonton lost game 1 in their first round series and came back to beat Dallas 4-0 in game 2. So they responded well in their first series.
It's exactly what they started talking about the minute the game was over. I thought the Edmonton coaching staff did a real nice job of taking the pressure off of game 1. So they did the same thing against Dallas. And now we're just going to do the same thing in tonight's game.
Well, the Avs thought they had gotten to the Blues puck, but it's an icing call. Well, Mark Crawford and just a baby behind the bench. He's almost at the 150 career win mark, counting playoffs.
Well, he's won a President's Trophy, he's won a Stanley Cup, he's won a Coach of the Year, he's won 5 consecutive playoff series, he's 1 win away from his 150th combined wins. And Mark Crawford, talk about, I think one of the things that the Avalanche coaching staff have done well is the afternoon practices in between games. They're at 4 o'clock, Mark meets with the press, they have 3 or 4 players meet with the press, and then usually there's nobody around when practice is over. So the players get to relax, they go for dinner afterwards, and none of the hype that's usually surrounding a Stanley Cup champion in the playoff series.
9:40 to play, first period. Nothing. Joseph. He gave it away to Lemieux. Cycles it back to the goal. Now Forsberg awaits it. Off the board with a nice move. Forsberg toward the goal. And at the last second, the Oilers converge on Forsberg, and Mironov will send it behind. Oh, bad hop off the glass. It came in front. You don't see many bad hops off this new glass. And a rare one nearly cost the Avalanche. Comes Buchberger. Booster off a good job on him. Now Arnott. Now low for Smith. Buchberger grabs the loose change. Left point to Braze. And that high wrister is nowhere near the goal. Buchberger again. And he put it too high, and it goes into the crowd. And Buchberger is upset.
Behind on the bench, there's an interesting story. He grew up in Banff, Alberta. He was an Edmonton Oiler fan. He used to go to hockey camps in Banff, and when the Oilers in the preseason would work out in Banff, he was always there. Now, one time in the parking lot, he got run over. He wasn't seriously hurt, but he got hit by Glenn Anderson, the former great Oiler. As I said, he was okay, and now a lot of people who follow the Oilers say he has the same crash and bash style that Glenn Anderson had back upstairs.
It's a continuation of that story. Glenn Anderson took him to the hospital. And when Ryan Smith asked me if he remembered, Glenn didn't quite remember the situation. Made the kid's life. As far as, here's Glenn Anderson, the stars, driving me to the hospital. And last year they were teammates for a while as Anderson tried to make a comeback with the Oilers.
No score here in the first period. 8:20 to play. Joseph. To the corner. Lacroix was there for the Avs. Lacroix, Sakic, and Denmark up front here. Penalty coming up. I think Lacroix got a high stick. It's against Edmonton. Sakic stopped. Right on goal. Joseph turned it away. Roy is off for the extra man. As soon as the Oilers get the puck, play will be whistled down. That's why Roy is gone. As the Avalanche on this delayed penalty. Edmarsh for Lemieux. Great feed into Forsberg. Can't make a play in tight. Now back on the line. Wrist shot on goal by Foot. And a save by Joseph. That's how the Avalanche had a couple of great chances on that delayed call.
You know, it's getting to the point now where you can't take your eyes off Forsberg. He just does something special every time he gets the puck. He was the guy coming off the bench to be the extra attacker for Patrick Roy. He goes in behind the net, and then he just sort of waited for everybody to set up, and off he took. He moves the puck up the ice to Denmarsh, and then he creates his own scoring chance. The penalty right here, Lacroix really had an outstanding game one against the Oilers. He had a goal, he had an assist. It was his first ever playoff goal. It was the first game of a hockey game, first goal of a hockey game. Mark Crawford said he was the real spark plug for his hockey club in that opening game. It's always great to see a guy hit a long scoreless drought. Bonnie broke that and also got his first ever playoff goal.
Elbowing to McGillis, and the Avs get the game's first power play. They were 1 for 4 in game one in the 97 playoffs. 13 power play goals. They're over 26%.
But again, in the playoffs, John, I really think it's more than numbers. 13 in only 7 games. Almost 2 a game they're averaging, which makes it so tough. As clubs look at that and they go, man, we can't be that aggressive. You got to keep the sticks down. You can't get nasty. Because if you do, you know you're going to get burnt.
30 gone in the power play. Ozelinch for Sakic. Joseph missed it back there. Forsberg stops it, makes a nice play. Great feed to Sakic. Slap shot! And that may have hit the goal post. Kamensky back in the point. Ozelinch a drive. And that was wide. Another penalty called here against Edmonton. Forsberg for Ozelinch. The Avalanche should give it up now and let Edmonton get it, because then we'll have longer on the 5-on-3, but Ricci walks in. And a shot and a save by Joseph. Play continues. Centered by Ricci. And now the Oilers touch it. And the Avalanche, thanks to a slashing minor, are going to get a 5-on-3 for 51 seconds.
The mind of a hockey team is always so important. Young Edmonton club, they're trying to be more aggressive. They've gotten through that important first 10 minutes, John. The Avalanche, this is the first time by this point in the hockey game, at home, the Avalanche haven't been ahead at least 2-0. So now all of a sudden Edmonton has got that. They're starting to control things as far as their emotions and the flow. But we got a situation now where a 5-on-3 power play for 51 seconds, and all of a sudden if they score, Bannister's got his head down. They know we can't do certain things against the Avalanche. So this is a real key point in the game. Here's the shot. You're right. I think Sakic's shot broke off the net. And there's good hard play. Claude Lemieux standing right in front of the net.
So a 5-on-3 for 51 seconds. 6:30 to play in the first period. No scoring so far. As Mironov kills some time. And he'll scoop it in behind the Avs goal. Ozolinsh and Sakic back on the points up front. Forsberg, Young, and Deadmarch. Here comes Sakic. Good feed into Young. He'll walk in. He scores! A power play goal!
You're asking for it to be reviewed. Deadmarch was close to the crease, but he wasn't in the crease. Now you're going to watch again the blue. We've already seen 2 in this series. Right side of your screen, Deadmarch, no, not even close. But they'll find out right off the bat. Boom, it's in, and then Deadmarch, I don't think he ever did get in the blue. But, John, they're going upstairs on almost every goal now. So they might as well do it and take away any controversy. A couple of reasons why a huge goal, John. One, first goal of the game, again for the Avalanche. Power play goal. But for Scott Young, his first goal. And boy, you know, if Scott Young was nervous or feeling uptight at all, he would have unloaded the minute he got this puck. Sakic makes a great pass. Young sees a defenseman are pinned back. He took 2 quick strides in, unloaded the wrist shot. Good, calm play by Scott Young.
Well, in game 1, Eric Lacroix broke a 25-game goalless drought, and Scott Young with that goal breaks a 21-game drought. Going back to the regular season, his last goal was scored March 3rd. There the Avs again. Deadmarch tripped up. It's now a 5-on-4 power play. Ozolinsh out of the corner. In front! Where is it? It's behind Joseph and knocked wide. Now Ozolinsh again. Young got the goal from Sakic and Ozolinsh at 13:52. It's now a one-man advantage as Lindgren will get the puck to the Avs line.
And Sakic now has points in all 8 playoff games. He now has 16 points, and he just keeps racking it up, and he is flying again tonight.
5:20 to play here in the first period. And the Oilers dump it in. Patrick Waugh wandering here. And in deep for the captain, Sakic. 40 seconds to go, and Bannister's minor. Now Kamensky with some speed. Oilers back in a bit. Kamensky, great feed to Lemieux. Right in front, Forsberg shoots! What a save! Oh, highway robbery by Joseph. I can't believe he stopped Forsberg.
Now here's one of the plays where Joseph, being so deep in the net, this is the kind of save that he can make. Now watch the puck come across. Forsberg gets good wood on it. He's going back. Lemieux saying have a look upstairs to see if he was behind the line. Doesn't matter if the goaltender makes the save. If he's behind the goal line, it's a goal. But a nice pass by Lemieux. And Cujo, pardon me, I won't say it, Cujo. I think it's a save. I don't think it went in behind. That's just a remarkable quick save by Joseph. And you know on the bench for Edmonton, that was either they're right down the bottom of the barrel or they're back into this hockey game a little bit.
Remember that one. I'm sure former goalie Ronnie Lowe will put that one in his memory bank.
It's the kind of save that Joseph was making against Dallas, it seemed like on every shift.
The Avs goal again young on the power play from Sakic and Ozolinsh at 13:52. 26 seconds left in the 5-on-4 advantage. Now Sakic up front with Lacroix and Corbet. Clem back on the right point now along with Ozolinsh. Here's Clem on the boards into the corner. Corbet for Sakic. Back for Corbet on the point. Clem was moving to the middle of the ice and he missed it. And he'll have to backtrack in his own end. 5 to go in the power play. As the Avs work at the center, Clem will wrist it in off the boards, and Joseph. Good play to stop it for Richardson. Bannister has returned, so the Oilers kill off 1 of 2 and trail 1-0. Clem's dump in. Joseph had to be careful with that one. As Colorado has made a change on the fly here, the Oilers wait with some speed, going wide. Turnaround shot, and Waugh at the right pad made the save. Richardson on the line. Back of the goal for Wade. He's very dangerous back there. A good playmaker.
And he's strong, John. You know, 5'11", 200 pounds, stocky, and very difficult to move off the puck.
Well, he was moved off the puck with authority there by Miller. The Avalanche clear it out, and here's a 3-on-2 break. Ricci with Keane and Yell in front of the goal, but Bannister, a good play to knock it away. Ricci on the boards, kept it in. Ricci and Yell, now Miller on the right point, and it bobbled over his stick. And back to Waugh. Oilers on a change, so Waugh sends it ahead, and Keane will flip it in. 3:20 to play, first period. Now the Oilers on the move, a penalty coming up, I think. Behind the play, Ricci involved with Arnott, and they both might go. The Avalanche, with a power play goal, have the lead. E.A. Bear was injured in that game. Mikhail Stolinkov took over.
As was Solani.
He came back.
He came back, but you know, hopefully he's 100% because they'll need both Korea and Solani to be hot when they get home.
Avalanche on their third power play. Arnott was the only man who got a penalty on that last altercation. He high-sticked Ricci at 16:41. The Avs are 1 for 2 tonight. And 2 of 6 in the series. Ozolinsh maneuvers into the corner. Now back on the line. Sakic, great feed to Forsberg. Can't take it off his skate. And Rick Murray, he'll go up the middle. And the puck rolls to center. Sakic and Ozolinsh back on the points. Lemieux, Forsberg, Kamensky up front. Sakic darts into the zone. He dropped it, but Marchand is there. Rips it around the boards. Denmarsh cut it off. And Forsberg picks it up. He straddles the line. Now Sakic. Oh, to Kamensky, and a one-timer. It bounced over his stick. Forsberg back. Intercepted, and Murray's got a break here. Short-handed Murray. A drive and a save by Waugh with his shoulder. And a penalty called against the Avalanche.
Well, a couple of things happened on that play. Good play by Sakic. Patrick Waugh has such confidence in himself and his ability to read plays. You see Sakic coming in as we're looking on the right side. So Patrick Waugh knows he's got to take the shot. He moves out, takes that away. But here's the penalty right here. Murray goes up and over. He had taken the shot, the puck went in the corner. I'm sure it's going to be interference as Murray was just trying to get after the rebound in the corner. But John, here's a look at that play earlier. Forsberg shot that Joseph comes across and absolutely robs Peter Forsberg. Now watch his glove right there.
That was close.
It was close, but never really went all the way across the goal line.
The puck must be completely across the goal line, which would be quite difficult to tell if it's in a man's glove.
Yeah, you really have to know it's in the glove and see the glove completely over the line.
Ozolinsh for interference at 18:01. 4-on-4. The second time in this period. Now Mike Greer, right point. Edmonton will get a power play. It's first of the night. Smith to the corner with Greer. Greer looking for an open man, and a wrist shot is nowhere near the net, and Stefan Yell grabs it. The Avs up 1-0 on a power play goal by Scott Young. 5 seconds. Here's a pass by Denmarsh, and escape of Yell. Gets turned around now for Denmarsh. Beats one guy, but Mironov with the poke check. And Kovalenko the other way, trying to send Arnott in. And Waugh will take no chances, and he'll cover.
One of the reasons that Patrick Waugh, you might see him freeze the puck a little more often than normal. The Avalanche did a real nice job on faceoffs last game. So again, these are things that go, believe me, into Patrick Waugh's game plan. We're good on faceoffs. I may be able to freeze the puck a little more often. Interesting, Patrick Waugh is starting off with his best ever playoff. Just as he had his best ever regular season, he's continuing it into the playoffs. 1.87. Not going to lose a lot of games when your goaltender's hanging around that 1.87 mark.
Not when your team scores 34 goals in 8 games, counting tonight. That's about 5 a night.
And that's just, they're starting to get a real dominance here in Colorado in the playoffs. Carry over from last year where they gave it to Florida the first couple of games. They beat Detroit the last time they played here in Game 6. So they've now won 7 in a row here at home. And it's pretty convincing.
A minute to go, first period. 1-0 for the Avalanche. Now the Oilers in the power play. They were 0 for 4 in Game 1. And ripped from behind by Mike Keane. Edmonton 6 of 38 in the playoffs, just under 16%. Again, the Avalanche have killed off 30 of 31 in postseason play. And 21 straight here at home. 30 seconds to go in the period. Now Smith on the far boards, controlled by the Oilers. Kovalenko doesn't shoot it. Now for Smith, back for Kovalenko. On the point for Doug Weight. Left wing side, Mironov a shot, and that was blocked by Foot. 10 to go in the period. Edmonton has to hurry now in the second period. The Oilers dump it in. And Foot going back. The Oilers power play has expired, so another kill, and Timestar will donate $50 to the Colorado Special Olympics. Forsberg, great feed into Kamensky. Stop, looks for an open man. Right, poked away by Bookberger, and Adam Foote circles at his own line. And off the boards, Richardson let it go for Boris Mironov. Now Bookberger, their captain. Got it backhanded in front, no one was home. Forsberg and Arnott to the board. Forsberg lost his helmet, and the puck is grabbed by Kucherov. Here's a 2-on-2. The Russians, Kucherov and Kamensky. Great move by Kamensky, but he can't get a shot, still has it. Now pass in front. Mike Keane trying to get turned around. Back for Kamensky off his stick. And the Oilers get to the red line, and Smith floats it in. Both teams make some quick changes here. Ricci tips it to the Edmonton line. Kovalenko back. Didn't clear it away. Ricci has had a strong start in this game too. Now Keane on the board. Outmuscles his man for Ricci. Down low. Yell walks in front. Saved by Joseph, and the net is loose. And a whistle from the referee, Mark Fossett.
John, this is a great example. We've seen some goals called back that are really tough to see called back. We saw Lemieux's called back. We saw Montes. Thomas's today scored for the Devils when he just had his foot slightly in the crease. But watch the action in around the goaltenders. Bang. I mean, the league is trying to do something to save the goaltenders' lives. As the league gets bigger, it's getting faster, and the players are coming into the crease with more and more regularity. If you land wrong on Joseph, he's in big trouble.
Peter, just to elaborate a bit more on the importance of the first goal. During the regular season, when the Avalanche scored first, the record was 37-5-4. In the playoffs, going back to last year, they have now won 14 consecutive games when they score the first goal. The last time they didn't win when they got the first goal was in the series against Vancouver. Game 4 when they lost 4-3.
One of the things that happens to the Avalanche is they pay great attention to detail on the ice in the playoffs. It's a very playoff hardened club down there, and they do little things in their own zone very well. They get the puck out. They don't fool around. They don't make mistakes.
Here's a good example here as Young hits the line. And Joseph will put that mitt down. And now some pushing in behind the Edmonton goal. Haven't seen a lot of this in this series. I know it's early, but Muir in his first game, Ryan Muir, 6'4", 220. And Denmark say hello to each other.
You know, it was interesting that the Edmonton seem to have an instant dislike for Dallas. That hasn't shown up so far. There's been certain people talking about awe that Edmonton's had towards the Oilers. Mark Crawford doesn't buy into it, but when you look at the numbers, you can see that 8-0-1 in the last 9 games, outscoring them 45-19. That's basically 5-2 every game that they've played home and away. So, you know, Edmonton's going to have to find something, jump pretty quickly. Someone's going to have to make a play. Someone's going to have to get things going for them to start believing if they have a chance to beat the Colorado Avalanche.
Our only goal tonight by Scott Young in the first period at 13:52, assisted by Sakic and Ozolinsh. Here come the Oilers. Smith, a shot and a glove save by Waugh. He saw it all the way. Now Smith trying to center, but Forsberg was in the right spot. Kept in by Richardson. For Smith, but there's Forsberg again, and he will clear it down the ice. Off an Oiler player, so there's no icing. Haven't had a shot so far in this second period, and we're really 3 minutes in.
That's the attention to detail we were talking about with the Avalanche. If things aren't going well offensively, they don't get greedy and force things to start making stupid plays that get other clubs a quick goal, an easy goal, and back into the game.
Dean, he lost an edge near the boards, tumbles into the near boards, gets up. Dean with Yell and Lacroix. Ozolinsh kicks the puck, now gets it back. But he can't get turned around for a shot. And it slides on the freshly Zambonied ice back to center ice. Now Sakic into the zone to Corbet. Has some room. Slap shot! Oh, and that one just hit wide by inches. Cujo may have gotten a piece of it. And the Oilers get it out. Here's Eric Lacroix. Good! In off the far board. Corbet tips it for Sakic. Trying to make a move on DeFries. And they do some pushing. Sakic now gets the puck. Centers one. Lacroix tried a shovel shot. And that was blocked by McGillis. Edmonton wanting to clear it here. Pressure. Corbet a hit. And held in by the Avs. Joseph trying to clear it himself. And they finally do get it out to center. Ozolinsh back now for the captain, Sakic. 3-on-3 into the zone. Good feed to Corbet. A shot. And that was wide. Ozolinsh, oh, great move here. Backhander, and that was blocked by DeFries. That was how he scored a nice goal in game 1 of the backhand. Now a steal by the Oilers. Doug Weight on a breakaway. He scores! And it's 1-1 as Doug Weight scores. After the Avalanche had some pressure, and it's a new game.
Well, Doug Weight had the best opportunity one-on-one with Patrick Waugh in game 1, but he was standing still. Here, Weight, who is a better passer than goal scorer, but in close is very good. Great spot. The Avalanche had some good pressure. This is a complete breakaway as he cuts in on Waugh. And Patrick, he just watched Patrick Waugh's reaction. He thought he'd read this perfectly and had the glove saved. But it's in behind him. And now, suddenly, John, it's tied. The first time, the Avalanche had been tied this late into the game. And Edmonton, has got to feel that they're very much in this contest.
Well, Doug Weight, who did not have a shot in the first period, gets the goal to make it 1-1. Unassisted at 4:19. His first of the series, third of the playoffs. And the puck near the line, kept in by Weight. Andrei Kovalenko back on the point now for Muir. Stuffed one to the corner. Marchand back for Muir. Fresh shot, and that hit a shin pad in front of it wide. Should be an icing call. It is against the Avalanche. So a break in the action as things heat up here in Denver. Wade had
Great number of chances against Patrick Roy. We just have to bury the puck. And obviously, close to midway in the second period, they're in good shape in game 2. Back upstairs we go to John and Peter.
According to the Avalanche stats people, Edmonton had 15 chances in game 1. The Avalanche had 18. So they were the more opportunistic team in the first game. 1-1 here. Shot by Lindgren, and that missed the goal. Now Cherkovsky for Greer, back in front for Lindgren. To the corner again to Greer, back to Lindgren, a shot, and Waugh made the right pad save, and the puck is taken by Sakic. In a 1-1 game, 4-on-3. Sakic will dump it in. Edmarsh lets it go for Ozolek, and that shot was wide. And Mariusz Cherkovsky, the ex-Boston Bruin. It should be an icing call, but Waugh will play it. Edmonton caught in a line change, a 3-on-2 break. Edmarsh now to the corner for Lemieux. They battle in deep. And Edmonton comes up with the puck and a long feed down the far wing. Smith to the middle, a drive on goal. Oh, and a good save there on DeVries by Patrick Roy. And this game opens up a bit here.
And they're starting to put some big hits on Peter Forsberg. And the Chicago series, it wasn't Forsberg didn't take it, he started to react, and he really started going after them. He wants to stay within himself.
Here's a 3-on-2 led by Forsberg. To Kamensky, in front, rebound, they score! Lemieux, I think, and the Avalanche go back on top.
Well, Kamensky's shot seemed to be going wide. It went into Buchberger and Lemieux, who were standing off to Joseph's left. And then all of a sudden the puck bounced away and in behind Joseph. And the Avalanche, be it Lemieux or Forsberg, get the crowd back into it and take some of the pressure off of the 1-1 game. Now watch as we're looking here at the left side of the screen. The shot goes up, it bounces. I think they hit right off the rear end of Buchberger. I think it's going to be Kamensky's goal. There's Joseph saying, you know, things are tough enough for me in this building. I don't need that kind of goal.
So the Avalanche go back in front 2-1. Well, they give the goal to Lemieux. It's 7th of the playoffs. Kamensky and Forsberg will get the assist on the goal. Peter, seconds after he says the Oilers are taking the body on Forsberg, he has a 3-on-2.
And he does a good job. So, you know, Peter learned a lot in that last series, as he's going to continue to do, because when you're the focal point of a team's checkers, you've got to play within yourself and not let them get to you and stop playing your game.
It's 2-1 the goal. Lemieux from Kamensky and Forsberg. Kept in by Corbet. Down the near boards, the quad trying to get it. And the puck is lifted high.
That's when he gets creative. The puck goes across, seemed to hit Buchberger, you know, in the back or in the rear end. Now watch the puck come across, hit Buchberger, and then just fall. You see Joseph going, no, not there.
Yes, there. 2-1 Avalanche. Lemieux from Kamensky and Forsberg. 6:39 the time. And it came about 2.5 minutes after Wade had tied the game. You know, in the first round series against Dallas, the Stars, known as a real good down-low team, not a fancy team, they get a lot of rebound goals, but they scored quite a few goals off the rush against Ron Lowe's team. And the Avalanche, as I said, had 2 in game 1 off the rush and another one here tonight.
Well, the hardest thing in all of hockey, and I believe this firmly, is to be a rookie defenseman in the National Hockey League and learn how to read plays, because these guys are so creative. Now, that wasn't exactly a play right out of the textbook. They're bouncing off a player's rear end. You know, that's just the way it goes. But the Avalanche, I mean, Edmonton has 3 rookie defensemen. They've got a bunch of rookies up front who may not know exactly where to go at the right time. So they're going to be susceptible to that. But they keep coming back at you.
Now Wait into the zone, and Oiler player Marchand, he can't get off. Play goes on. Now they drag him into the box, literally. Play continues. The Avalanche leading by 1 here. Sharp angle shot and a body saved by Cherkovsky. By the way, they have now changed that goal from Lemieux to Kamensky. It will be his 6th from Gusarov and Forsberg. So it did not hit Claude Lemieux. And that is well into the crowd. So Kamensky gets the goal, his first of the series. Remember, he had 5 in the last 2 games against Chicago.
I mean, he just seemed to, it was like he turned on a switch against Chicago. He was playing all right, and then all of a sudden he just went bang. Games 5 and 6. I mean, every time he touched the puck, something exciting was happening. Marchand, of course, the hero in Game 7 for his overtime goal. He's coming up the ice right here. Looks like you got the elbow in the side of the head. Here they're trying to help him up. That's why he wasn't moving. I'm not sure he knows if he's here or back in Dallas. Right in the old schnoz.
So the goal, Kamensky from Gusarov and Forsberg at 6:39. And he'll go off for repairs. Healthy but not in the lineup tonight for Edmonton. Brian Marchment, Louis DeBrusque, Donald Dufresne, and Peter Kleeman.
It's really interesting. Marchment not in the lineup. I thought he played pretty well last game, but of course he was coming off that concussion. Maybe, took a lot of energy. Maybe they didn't want to just push him too hard at this altitude and just, give him another game off before they get him back in the lineup.
Teams at full strength, 11 to play, second period. The Avalanche with a 2-1 lead. Good forechecking there. Severance centers it after the hit by Deadmarsh, but Oilers back to center. Cherkovsky, goal mouth feed to Mike Greer, but that was too far. And Severin on his first shift of the game. His first ever playoff game was Game 1 against Edmonton. There's a big hit from behind on Deadmarsh. Now the Oilers break in. Oh, Clem, a nice job to knock it off. Cherkovsky's stick, and Forsberg gets it from Michael Greer. Forsberg, great move at center, 3-on-2 with Deadmarsh and Ozolek. In the slot, Deadmarsh had his stick held. Forsberg again fights off the check from Richardson. Look at the strength. Great feed. Deadmarsh, backhander and a save. Oh, what a play by Forsberg. Down low again, and Mironov will clear it. They've seen enough of Forsberg on this shift.
Well, Richardson has seen enough. He cross-checked Forsberg into the end boards. He said, that's it. I've chased this guy around long enough. It's absolute brilliance. It's strength, it's speed. He knows where to put the puck so the players can't get at it. He shields the puck well. And then he throws these little passes into areas that they can't make it through, and all of a sudden it just like arrives. You think there's no way. It just is absolutely remarkable to watch.
It's remarkable that the Oilers gave him so much room in Game 1. Peter Forsberg now in the last 6 first games of a series going back to last year. In those 6 games, 6 goals and 5 assists. You'd think going into a series you'd watch him.
But again, I don't think people still yet believe how good this kid is. I think there's still this idea that, if we put somebody on him, they can shadow him. One guy cannot do it. I firmly believe you have to be probably 215 pounds if you're going to play the body on Peter Forsberg. Anything less than that, you might as well just play the puck, because he's going to knock you on your rear end.
Here's Lacroix for Young. You're going back to rookie. The Avalanche up by 1 midway through this second game. Kept in Gusarov. A drive on goal and a save by Joseph. And we get a stoppage in play.
Now here's a number that we showed you earlier in the season about right off the bat. But you look at Sakic and Forsberg, their careers, which includes all of the playoff games, all of the regular season games that they played, coming into the night, John, they even went so far as to miss 17 games each this season. So the number's 243 to 235. That's 478 points in those 179 games. That's about 2.8, 2.7 points per game that you're facing. Almost a goal per game between these two guys. So, and John, I guess it's that incredible question when you're dealing with the Avalanche. Who do you cover? You put your ace, defensive group on Forsberg or Sakic? Sakic's shown you in the playoffs he now has 50 points in the last two playoff years. Or do you go with Forsberg?
Choose your poison.
Exactly. That's exactly right, because if you don't, I mean, no matter what you do, the other guy is going to kill you.
Young and Kamensky have scored for the Avalanche. Doug Weight has replied for Edmonton. Miller now behind the goal. Lemieux put it in front. And Bannister is the only man there. Behind the play, Muir's involved. The penalty coming up here. Lemieux and Muir entangled way behind the play. And it might be the Oiler player. How many times have we seen Lemieux do this?
Well, you know, John, the thing about it is he's so incredibly strong, Lemieux. I mean, Muir, as you mentioned earlier, big guy, 220 pounds, but Lemieux is able to just keep working and working, so he's never pinned. You can't just, if you're just pinned and not going anywhere, the referee's not going to make a call because you're just pinned. But if you're moving and almost out of the zone and almost out of the guy's reach, and he keeps tugging and tugging at you, that's when they're going to make the call.
Well, Ron Lowe talked about it before Game 2. We got to get more physical. Both clubs during the regular season had a ton of power play chances.
And then in the playoffs, it's continued. And remember last series, obviously, against Chicago, the Avalanche just beat them to a pulp. The power play, 12 power play goals, fifth highest in the history of the 7-game series. And they only played 6 games.
But getting physical and punching a guy in the back of the head like Muir did, two different things. And the Avalanche go back on the power play. 1 for 3 tonight. They lead 2-1. A goal here would be a big boost for the Avs. A 2-goal lead and demoralizing for Edmonton, which a few minutes ago was even in this game. Lemieux into the zone. Get some help in there. The puck picked up. Now centered. Forsberg has to chase it down on the boards. He'll set it up on this power play. Forsberg up front with Lemieux and Kamensky. To Kamensky. In front. They score! Lemieux through the penalty and gets the goal.
Beautiful, beautiful passing play by the Avalanche. And again, John, the thing that separates great players in this league, not always necessarily the ability to give a pass, but also to take one. Watch Kamensky down low, and show you the highlight. Take the puck off his skate, move the puck forward. Here's Forsberg's pass, that's Kamensky. He stops it, moves it forward, and then just chips the pass across to Lemieux, who's in his favorite spot, right in front of the net. And now Forsberg and Sakic have been in all 3 goals in tonight's game. Kamensky now has a goal and an assist. There's the Avalanche, a 5-on-3 power play goal, a regular power play goal, and an even strength goal. Edmonton was back, but the Avalanche have retaken the momentum.
Huge goal there. His 7th of the playoffs. 7-8 games, and he's had 2 goals called back.
2 goals that were legitimate goals, but under the rules were, almost like technicalities why they were called off.
And with 7 goals, he leads all playoff scorers in the National Hockey League.
That moves him into 14th place all time. With 64 playoff goals. He's nowhere near the top 100 career goals overall. But he's number 14, tied with Croft and Smith. I mean, and Vaughn Cornwell. These are some great names. Gordie Howe only scored 4 more playoff goals in his career than Claude Lemieux has.
He's got that magic coaching come April, doesn't he?
He and his eyes just get huge, and he just got a great story, which we get some time about why it happened, why this playoff seemed to be inbred into his play.
It's a 3-1 Avalanche lead, a 2-on-2 break. Yale will dump it in. And the puck near the boards. Last year, 19 playoff games. Florida had 5 goals and 12 points. Pretty good year. And don't forget, 2 years ago was the MVP with the Devils.
He had 13 goals that year, and plus Chet Neely and Yager and Lindros. And, I mean, it was absolutely magnificent in a defensive role. Something we haven't seen him do that often from Mark Crawford's club.
So a 3-1 Avalanche lead. The goal again, Lemieux from Kamensky and Forsberg. At 11:35. Oh, he nearly had a break there as Mironov barely got it back. Now in for Smith. Wait awaits it back to the goal now for Buchberger. 6.5 to play in the second. Buchberger toward the goal, and Waugh made the save, no problem. Smith back to the corner. And then Buchberger hooked down Forsberg. The referee looked right at it. They center one. Oh, they nearly get an art. I've known players who have said, no, I don't want Trainer A sharpening my skates. I like the way Trainer B does it. They are picky.
You take it to the extremes. Paul Coffey sharpens his own skates because he wanted to make sure they're absolutely perfect.
As does Eddie Belfour of the San Jose Sharks.
You know, we've talked about Mike Keane going off getting his skate sharpened by the great Rob McLean. And he's, you know, look at these 3 guys. You know, you talk about your superstars, but you need your trench guys to be solid. They have to know their role. And these guys have been even or plus every single game. So what they're doing is they're playing well, but they're also giving the star players. The star players play well, then the Avalanche win. And that's all that matters. These guys working hard, knowing their role, doing the little things that open up the play for Forsberg and Sakic's line.
Here's a shot by Foot. That's stopped in front by Richardson. Outlet feed for Buchberger. He scored the lone Edmonton goal in Game 1. Wade has the lone Oilers goal in Game 2. And a penalty coming up here against the Avalanche. I think Foot perhaps a roughing minor, and he says, well, I was hit first, and he may be cut near the right eye.
Well, we've seen sticks are starting to come up around the leg right there. That's why he's upset. Smith's stick got him right in the kisser. You look right here, Smith. Well, they have had a great battle already. You go and talk about 2 guys that are going to really respect, but absolutely hate each other. When this is over, Smith and Foot. That handshake at the end of the series, you know, doesn't matter who wins. And you're going to be one of those, way to go, big guy, great series. It'll be bang, see you, I hate you.
Smith's only 21, but Foot said he's a confident young man, and he knew he'd go against them night after night. That was a great example of their battles. Had him with a bit of a facial, sending him to the box for 2 minutes. Oilers 0 for 1 in the game, and 0 for 5 in this series as the Avs break it up. And that'll be offside as it came outside the zone and brought back in. Ryan Smith's brother, we heard a good story about Ryan Smith earlier, a youngster, but you got a young brother that plays with Orlando in the International Hockey League, and he nearly lost an eye, Peter, has come back to play, has 30% vision in the eye, and is playing with the Solar Bears, but obviously dangerous situation.
Yeah, legally blind in most states, which makes him ineligible to play in the National Hockey League because of the eye, but he can play in the International Hockey League and continue his career. Former pick of the Hartford Whalers.
Kevin Smith.
Good, you know, good, strong forward. First thing he did, phoned his brother and said, put on the visor, which Ryan has not done to this point.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. Your own brother telling you, know, saying, listen, it's scary and it's over in a hurry in those situations.
Edmonton on a power play, down 3-1. McGillis blocked by Keane. Fed around the boards by Clamp, kept in by Smith. Now the Oilers set it up on the near wing. McGillis back of the goal for Smith. Now McGillis again. Wrist shot and a body save by Waugh. The rebound taken by Keenan, slapped down the ice. 4.5 to play, second period. The Avalanche lead by 2. Now Stepaniel nearly sent Sakic in alone. 45 to go in the man advantage, and that's called back at an offside.
Well, it's always interesting to watch the Avalanche between games. You know, they were here yesterday, forward about 4:35, 4:40 practicing, and you know, then Mark Crawford leaves. And you'd think there'd just be an exodus after Crawford leaves because they got a game the next night. These guys, I mean, they enjoy themselves. It's 5 minutes before the first guy. They did another 5 minutes. They end up spending about an hour, hour and 10 minutes on the ice just horsing around, taking shots, reflecting little games that they play. They come in the dressing room, they hang around for a while more. Very close club that enjoys just the interaction on and off the ice.
A rather risky play going up the middle. Barely got it by Arnott. 25 to go in the penalty, and now another penalty called, I think, on Edmonton.
Arnott slash on Sakic behind the net. They are definitely upping the ante against Forsberg and Sakic. What they're doing every shift, they're giving him a whack with the stick. In behind the legs, they can get their stick up, in elbow up, whatever. Right there.
Well, right in the head. He just tapped him, but when you get it up around the face, that will draw a red flag very quickly. Slashing at 16 minutes.
Yeah, it's always so interesting for me to watch Joe Sakic play. I mean, we talked about it last game, this lack of fear that he's had. When you go back to his roots, in British Columbia, then moving to the Prairies, Saskatchewan, playing junior hockey there. First year in junior, the 4 players were killed on his team on the bus, and he was left with a club that, you know, really depleted of real star players. He was the only real star. He was only 5'10", 165 pounds. But he led that team in a rough, tough Western hockey league. And he is unbelievable school.
Oh, Lynch ripped it wide. The power play now for the Avalanche as foot is back on. Here's Lynch's shot blocked. And Marchand with the blazing speed, wrister. And a blocker save and run a tat-tat by Waugh. Here they come again. Sakic with a minute 20 to go in the power play. Yeah, bleeding. 3-1. Sakic fires one, and he just missed the top corner there. Joseph was going down. Now back on the line. Sanders Ozolich makes a move, trying to go through the legs. Gets it to Sakic, back on the line for Kamensky. This is Sakic again. Lemieux goes to the front. Sakic with some time to Ozolich. The shot hit Lemieux in the back of the leg, and it was loose for a second and fired down the ice. And Waugh's pass intercepted. But the Avs get it back, and here they come. 3-on-1. Lemieux into Young, and he can't tip it in. Now Ricci back to Ozolich. In behind the goal, Muir is there. He gives it right back to Ricci. On this power play for Young, fires it, and Joseph went down and made the pad save. So the corner again to Ricci. Taken out by DeVries and a punch, and another penalty. And another after the fact kind of minor penalty call.
Well, they're trying to play tough. They're just getting themselves trapped in situations where the referee is right there looking at it.
And the Avalanche will have a 5-on-3 for 6 seconds. They scored their first goal of the game on a 5-on-3. That's not the penalty. That is the punch.
Sure. I mean, he took him in hard, but then he gives him a little extra shot.
Muir goes off.
And you're not going to crawl back into this hockey game taking those kind of penalties, because the Avalanche have been so good on the power play, but you're also wasting 2 minutes of time when you're trying to get your game plan into effect. The Avalanche looking for an opportunity now to put this game away, John. 3-1 now, power play goal, 4-1. The young team Edmonton, all the energy just be sucked right out of them. So this is the key power play in this hockey game. Edmonton needs to kill it to stay alive.
I thought the last goal by Lemieux was a big one for the Avalanche after Kamensky got lucky on a carom to give Colorado a lead. Lemieux scored a power play goal to make it 3-1, and you're right, another one here. That could be it for game 2. Although the Edmonton Oilers came back in the Dallas series, you never know. Forsberg leaves some magic in alone, and he just missed on the far side. He went through everybody and feathered it just wide of the post. Now back for Sakic. Into Ozolinsh. Walks in. Save, and the rebound by Lacroix, blocked by Joseph. Sakic on the line. Does a great job to keep it in now to Deadmarsh. 2-on-1 down low for Ozolinsh. And Joseph poked it away, and here come the Oilers now. Short-handed, Doug Weight walks in. Across to the slot, the must shot. Broken up. And the Avalanche have a 4-on-3 the other way. Sakic to Forsberg. And the high shot is over the head of Joseph.
But he was going short side shell, Forsberg.
And Edmonton will clear it. Under a minute to go in the power play. A minute left here in the period. The Avalanche with a 3-1 lead. Now Alexei Gusarov up on the far wing. And foot will wrist it in. Joseph going to the backhand. And this play is onside, a breakaway for Buchberger. Saved by Wall. He tried to do Doug Waite's move, go through the legs. And Wall will have none of that.
He did Joseph a great job, an absolutely perfect lob pass. Buchberger was in behind.
Now Ricci's in the clear. Oh, and a save by Joseph as the Avalanche come right back and have a great chance by Ricci.
Great action in this hockey game. Both of these clubs showing their speed. Well, at the one end, Patrick Waugh, who's only allowed the 2 goals so far. Perfect lob pass. Buchberger stays on side by cutting to the middle. And Patrick, we've seen him improve over this season on breakaways. But Kamensky right there puts in Ricci. Joseph coming out to make the save. Talking to Mike Ricci yesterday, and he said the best part about the playoffs this year is completely healthy. He's got the nicks and bruises, but he doesn't have anything that should keep him out of games. So much more fun just to play the game.
We are in the last 15 seconds of the second period. The Avalanche on the power play for another 5 seconds. Lefebvre, or Young, can't get to it. And hammered down the ice.
Baseball every 5th day at this point.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, I've worked hard for it, and you know, things are going good. We're playing good as a team right now. There's a lot of chemistry there, so hopefully we can keep the thing rolling.
Hey, Roger, thanks for spending a few minutes. Go enjoy the rest of the game.
No problem. Thanks.
All right, you got it. That's Roger Bailey, and a quick shameless plug. Our first Rockies game on Fox Sports, June 7th. Back across cross ice to John and Peter.
Drew, there's nothing ever shameless about you. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Roger and the Rockies, who had a big win. Today they're off to a great start in '97.
Yeah, I mean, they've been very exciting. And again, it's just all part of what makes it fun around here. I mean, the ballpark is such a great place to go to. I mean, it's just incredible how they put that thing together. And it's just, you know, it's just fun to see the teams getting together and enjoying each other. Look at the last 8 home games for the Avalanche. They're 8-0. Outscore the opposition 40-7. Not allowed more than 1 goal at home the last 7 games. I'd say that's domination, wouldn't you, John?
As close to perfection as you can get.
You know, that's one thing about Mark Crawford's hockey play. They are prepared. Their preparation for the game. They didn't skate that long yesterday, but there were meetings on every single aspect of the game. Power play meeting, penalty killing. They're short and sweet meetings, but they go over very specific things that they want to get changed, what they want to do for the next game. And anything that they didn't do well, they always go over.
Teams at full strength here in the third period. The Avalanche with a 3-1 lead. Lemieux with some speed, and he was pulled down, and that's another penalty drawn by Lemieux. He has been tremendous I think without a doubt playing his best hockey in an Avalanche uniform.
Yeah, last year in the playoffs, Claude Lemieux was good. But this year, he's the way he was 2 years ago when he won the Conn Smythe. Watch this. Arnott thinks he's got him lined up right here. Bang. But watch Lemieux, one arm. Knocks the stick around his body. And I guarantee you, Arnott thought, when he put the stick on Lemieux, I got him slowed down enough, I'm going to ride him into the corner. But Lemieux was able to jack the stick up over his head and cut in on net.
Arnott has been held shotless in this game, had 2 shots in game 1. So they've held the Peter Forsberg of the Oilers in check.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good example of Peter Forsberg of the Oilers. In other words, he's got to be a big producer. 18 shots on goal so far in the playoffs, only 1 goal. And you've got to get, because he's their big man, and they go to him.
The Avalanche 2 of 6 on the night and 3 of 10 in the series. And around 25% in the 97 playoffs. And the Oilers will clear it. Then down the ice. Sakic and Ozolinsh again back on defense. And the forwards Ricci, Deadmarsh, and Young. Arnott off for a hooking at the 34-second mark. Deadmarsh scoops it into the zone for Ozolinsh. He lost an edge. And the puck trying to clear it out on the Oilers. Now Bannister gets it. And he'll whack it down the ice. Obviously a goal here would just about put this out of reach.
For Edmonton, they've got to kill it off and they get some 5-on-5 play. That's where they've had the majority of their scoring chances. That's where they've had some good pressure.
Sakic to Ozolinsh. Oh, a shot hit a leg, and Joseph was going the wrong way. But luckily for him, it went wide. Now steal Kamensky in the corner, and it rolled off his stick. He was going backhand, forehand, backhand. Now in front Lemieux. He can't get it. The Avalanche all over the puck at this point on the power play. Tipped in front by Kamensky now for Sakic. 40 to go in the man advantage. In for Forsberg to Sakic. And that shot was well wide. May have hit something. Ozolinsh down to the corner. Here's Kamensky again. Centers it off Richardson and nearly by Joseph. Nearly his second ping-pong goal in this game.
Kamensky is playing a wonderful hockey game. He is so good in close. He's got a very high lie on his stick, meaning everything is in real close. Now watch in close to his feet when he picks the puck up. He's so able to pick it up and move it and pass it. And you have to come so deep into Kamensky's body. And then when you do, what happens, John? He just uses that stretch ability, that long arm, and then he puts it out around you. He makes you come forward into him to get the puck. He's in his feet. He controls it so well. The minute you do that, he stretches out around you.
Deadmarsh on the face-off, 25 to go. In the Avs power play, they lead 3-1. Now back to Clem into Young. Down low for Deadmarsh. Here's Lacroix after the puck. Murray trying to get it out. He does by Lefebvre. And John Clem. Now Lefebvre to Young. Good pass. Poked in by Deadmarsh. Uses his speed effectively. And rolls one to the corner. Arnott is back on, so the Oilers back to full strength. It's still 3-1 Colorado.
The next 5 minutes or so of this hockey will be key for Edmonton. Not necessarily to score, but to start to get the puck deep in the Avalanche zone, attacking with speed, down low, start hitting the defenseman and trying to cause some turnovers.
Now Smith puts it in front, but the only man there is Stefan Yell. And he'll whack it off the boards into Oilers territory. And Bannister, number 55. Now played on by Nier, ahead for Smith, into Kovalenko. No shot is there. Kovalenko has been very quiet in these first 2 games. Hasn't had a shot tonight. And remember, this is a guy that he's a regular 30, 35 goal scorer, as Avalanche fans know.
He's big and he's strong. He's one of the reasons why Edmonton beat Dallas. He had the goal that tied it up 3-3 late in the game in Dallas, so he's a key performer.
A couple of big nights. Lacroix had
his first ever hat-trick sack, a goal and 5 assists. 6 points in that game.
As the Avs rolled to a 7-2 win. Here it's 3-1, 16:20 to play in the third period. Don't forget Game 3 of the series Wednesday in Alberta. Game 4 Friday. But there's a 5th game back here next Sunday. Now Marius Tchaikovsky, penalty coming up here against the Avalanche. And they touch the puck. And a holding against an Avs player.
And John, just for people, it's been the games are normally in the playoffs every other day. It's not in this situation. The 2-day layoff takes them up to Edmonton. The club leaves in the afternoon of Tuesday. Get up there, play, as you said, the 7th and the 9th up there, the 11th Sunday back here. If Game 5 is necessary.
Rosalind for holding.
What do you think about
second minor tonight?
What do you think about the other series? What do you think about the Buffalo Phillies?
I thought the Buffalo Phillies game last night was a great hockey game. Big loss for Buffalo. They had a 2-goal lead, and they gave up a goal with a second to go in the second period. That was the turning point, but it was a wonderful game.
Tremendously physical. Boy, they were just all over each other.
Here's a drive by McGillis. And 2 great games today. The Rangers beat the Devils 2-0 to even that series at 1, and Detroit in triple overtime on a goal by Kozlov knocked off Anaheim to take a 2-0 lead. Both wins in OT. Oilers dangerous on the power play, but Wall made the save on a shot by Smith, and he's arguing wants a penalty. The Avalanche have had 2 5-on-3s in this game. And the Oilers only on their 3rd power play. They're 0 for 2. Mironov gets to the checkered red line. Lobs it in deep. Clem there. And bothered from behind. Kicked away by Kovalenko. Now for Waite. He has scored the lone Oiler goal. Waite on the boards. Now Smith knocked down a shot. And that grazed the near goal post. And Peter Forsberg with a minute to go in the Edmonton power play. Forsberg short-handed. Into Sakic, a wrist shot. Oh, a glove save there by Cujo.
Across his body. I don't think anybody in the league shoots across their body any better than Joe Sakic.
And this will be an icing call against Edmonton.
We know how the Avalanche play. Stephon Yell, who's been, he was terrific last game. Didn't get a point, but he's been skating, he's been on his game. 5 points so far in the playoffs for Stephon Yell, all assists. But again, the responsibilities on the guy, he's only 22 years old, only in his 2nd year in this league. And yet you try and find a guy that's sounded defensively in this league. As far as a young center iceman, I don't know if in the league there is a guy that's better. He's fast, he's mobile, he's durable, doesn't seem to get injured, doesn't seem to, he skates effortlessly. Forget it. Real easy. He skates real easy.
Here's a tip-in try. Oh, and it is robbed by Waugh. And Yell has it. Yell's play almost mirrors his in-person persona. Very quiet. Not a lot of people know him.
Yeah, yet very funny guy. Very, very funny man.
Yell getting back and forces Waite to a bad angle, and the backhander knocked away by Waugh. 5 to go in the power play, and the Avalanche cleared away, and that'll do it. Prime Star will donate another $50 to the Colorado Special Olympics thanks to that last kill. And Edmonton now 0 for 7 in the series. Lindgren for the Oilers, who trail by 2, but Forsberg gets back there. Now for Ozwich, near side to Clem. And he'll lob it over the glass and into the crowd.
Just commenting on that Ranger-Devils series, is the hype going to pick up now? Rangers win today, and all of a sudden it's a series heading back to New York.
We saw Roger Bailey earlier. Craig Stadler Talk about a hockey fan. He played a golf tournament this weekend in Japan. Flew home today, landed in Portland, got a connection to Denver, and got here 2 hours before game time. Think he's tired? Coming from Japan, but he's an avid fan.
He's been here since the beginning, and really, he knows most of the players, and he's actually one of the players people that flew home last year on the championship charter.
He still hasn't given us those golf lessons that we're in dire need of.
I was going to say, in dire, really use.
Here's a long shot. Blocked in front by the Oilers. DeVries. Lindgren is away. In for Buchberger. He is forced back to center by Lefebvre. Well, the Avalanche have scored 8 goals in these 2 games. Here's a shot by Marchand, but it's so easy to overlook the great defensive work they're doing.
And that's the whole group, the defensemen and the forwards, and Patrick Waugh with those timely saves.
Now Yell circles the goal, taken out by Richardson. In comes Lacroix, big hit on Lindgren. And poked in behind the goal. Joseph sweeps it ahead, and the puck will come to center with 12:35 to go in regulation time.
But the puck play going up and down, no real offensive chances for either team. But the Avalanche have a 2-goal lead.
Now Steve Kelly, the rookie. One of 9 rookies in the lineup tonight. Turnover, here comes Lemieux. And that was blocked by Richardson, and look out about 20 rows back. Good drive by Lemieux. 3-1 the Avalanche in the lead.
On to the Avalanche, as you know, he has a knee injury. Done for the season. Is it tough to watch?
It's tough, but it's a lot easier when your team is playing as well as ours is tonight, and it's been an enjoyable game to watch. Very wide open and our type of hockey.
I've been talking to you a little bit. You're pretty upbeat and looking forward to next year, I imagine.
Yeah, that's the only way you can go through it. I think it's an unfortunate thing, but life goes on, and our team has a lot of games left to win here, and I'm just going to be here to support in any way I can.
There's only one good thing that's come out of this injury. Keith's getting married this summer, and he won't have to dance. Back upstairs to John and Peter.
All right, thank you very much, Drew.
That may not be so good. I hear he's a heck of a dancer.
Fred Astaire Jr.
There's a wonderful 2-step. It's got to be tough for Jones. The last couple of seasons, he's played tough series against Pittsburgh, where Washington's been ahead 3-1 in both series, and then lost. So they don't make it through the next round. Now it looks like he's going to make a run, join the Claude Lemieux of the world as they try to win a Stanley Cup, and then he gets that injury. Real tough time. With Young scoring today, he became the 14th player for the Avalanche to score a goal in the playoffs. That's more than any other club. So they're getting scoring, and key scoring from the big guys, but it's down through the line that they're getting, contributions from almost every player.
11:30 left in the third. 3-1 Avalanche lead, and the puck out over the boards and the glass. Our Subaru Outback game summary.
Well, first period, 5-on-3. Scott Young walks in, gives the Avalanche their 5th first goal of the game at home. Cujo, the unbelievable save on Forsberg. Wade ties it at 1, and Edmonton was back in it, but then 2 goals. One a little bit lucky right there, a lot lucky for the Avalanche, and then a beautiful play. Lemieux, the right side of your screen, comes in, pounds home his league-leading, playoff-leading 7th goal.
And that is where we stand now, our Subaru game summary. And the puck rolling down to Joseph. Oilers with Mironov. Both teams executing a change in the fly now for Smith. On his off wing. In front. Kovalenko gets it. And Waugh got over and made the save. Now in front. Another shot. And Waugh made the save on that with his left pad. And the Avs start back. 3-on-2. Gedmarsh in. Young trying to follow up, but Kovalenko is there to break it up, and Adam Foote backpedaling for Alexei Gusarov. Out of center, Mironov for the Oilers to Buchberger. Here's Waugh sending the puck off the glass. The shots tonight, 30-19, favoring Edmonton. The Avalanche Friday night had outshot the opposition in 6 of 7 playoff games. And the puck rolls to the corner. Yale back to the goal. Oh, great play by Corbeil.
cover their player. And so sometimes you're going to be just this open. Watch right here. Bang. Here comes the Edmonton player. There's absolutely no Edmonton player for support right there. Corbet gets a little congratulations pat by the Edmonton Oiler. Good Corbet. And who has just been, you know, his numbers don't tell you anywhere near how well he has played this season. This is a guy now that was last year in the playoffs, didn't play that much, didn't play that often, got a couple of big goals against Florida in game 2, but was in and out of the lineup. And this year he has been the 10th forward, at least, for the Avalanche every game.
Corbet gets his first of the series, second of the playoffs from Yell and the Claw at 9:51. And it's 4-1. And that could be a backbreaker for Edmonton. Here's a chance now for the Oilers. And Greer was robbed on the rebound after Sherpotski had a good chance. Kept in by Mike Greer. Block shot. And that was blocked in the slot. Rebound. And a save again by Waugh. Another chance. And Kelly was stopped by Patrick Waugh. Good shift by the Greer line. McGillis hammers it wide. And now played by Clem up the far boards for Lacroix. And the Avalanche who now lead 4-1. Get it out.
But Edmonton, they're not going to give up. They're thinking back to that 3-goal comeback they had against Dallas, and they're fueling off that. And also, they got to keep working in this game. But the Avalanche, I mean, they're playing so well positionally. The line shifts are sharp. Everything.
Here's Lemieux, a shot, and Joseph with the save. And he held it long enough. He doesn't get many. Remember the goal he scored in New Jersey this year? Highlight goal. This one through the leg to Cujo. McNichols in Denver. It's sports celebrity night here at McNichols.
Baseball, football, golf, you name it. They're here watching the Avalanche tonight.
I wonder if Amy Van Dyken is here tonight. So go for the circuit. Last goal by Corbet from Yell and the Claw at 9:51. The Claw now with 3 points in this series.
3 points in his last 2 games. Yell, another assist. 6 so far in the playoffs. Corbet, the little contributions are turning into big factors in these hockey games.
Checking downstairs, Drew Goodman.
Speaking of little contributions, Rene Corbet, as you guys just talked about, picked up his 2nd goal of the playoffs. The Avalanche lead the NHL in the playoffs with 12 different players having scored a goal. That's a testimony to depth, maybe the biggest illustration of their depth. Back upstairs.
And John, you look at the shots right now. Interesting, 34, as you mentioned, 34-21 for Edmonton. And in the playoffs so far, the Avs have been averaging 36.4 shots, and Edmonton has been allowing 36 shots a game. So Edmonton's doing a better job defensively, but they're making mistakes that the Avalanche are just jumping on, and that's what kills a team. You can play a good hockey game, and you know the chances can look even, and everything can look the same, but the Avalanche don't need as many scoring chances, and Patrick Waugh's back there playing great hockey.
Pretty good combination.
And it's working. I mean, they get the power play going, they get the penalty killing going, specialty teams are awesome. So really, it's tough right now to try to figure out some way to beat these guys.
Ryan Smith. He was held up back of the goal. Bookberger filters it back on the point for Luke Richardson. Now Smith. He's taking a tumble from Adam Foote. They've had a constant battle. As Bookberger tries to center, but there's Adam Foote with the puck.
And not just with the puck, he steps out between the guys with as much poise as you want. And he's supposed to be the top guy on the team, not known for his defensive play.
Now Marchand with some nifty work here. Wrist shot, and that was just wide. Oilers try to center it. But again, Peter Forsberg back deep in his own zone. He was ripped down and centered by Marchand, and Forsberg can't believe there was no call. 7:20 to play. 4-1 the Avs in the lead here. En route to taking a 2-0 lead. Of course, the Oilers in the first round series scored 3 goals in a 4-minute span to win game. Forsberg, great move, backhander, tipped away. And Forsberg runs the Oiler player back of the net.
Forsberg didn't even want to shoot that puck. All he wanted to do was make a pass.
And now Marchand gives Miller a bit of a face wash.
Again, the ugliness has not been a part of this game because the Avalanche have got their power play going, and Edmonton's got to respect it.
Time now for our 1-800-COLLECT great save of the night.
So it's going to be Joseph on that play back in the first period. Lemieux makes a beautiful pass across. Forsberg gets good wood. He's going back into the wide open net. And Joseph absolutely robbed him.
1-800-COLLECT. It's the easy way to save. He hasn't scored 9 goals in 2 games against Joseph. He's let in a couple of questionable goals, but at the same time, Peter, he's made 7, 8, 9 remarkable saves.
The questionable ones have been on wraparounds. Lacroix game 1, Corbet game 2. They come out to his right. The left side of the net as we're looking, but to the right, he's tucked behind. They both slip through his legs.
Marchand and Miller get roughy minors. At 13-13, so 4 on 4. With 6:50 to play. Ozolinsh now for John Clem. Well, the Oilers came off that first round series full of confidence. The young team with 9 rookies upsetting the Stars, who had 104 points. You have to say their confidence is shaken now. At least you would think. Not that they're giving up by any means, but it's a different situation.
But John, you mentioned it, and it's a very good point. Last game, the 2 days off might favor Edmonton a little bit. Time to get home, time to get themselves, recentered and get themselves focused on, not being in awe of this team.
Oh, Arnie had a great chance. That was his best scoring chance of the series. He did not have a shot in the first 2 periods of this game. It had a point-blank attempt there, and Waugh got the right leg down.
It was so funny last game, the press conference after the game. The 3 big stars for the Avalanche, Sakic, Forsberg, and Waugh were in the press tent that they had downstairs. And they're asking Forsberg about the play that he made in the first period to Lemieux, and Lemieux scored the goal for the game winner. Peter couldn't remember it. And Peter couldn't remember it. He said, it's sort of a long time. Patrick just took over. He said, gentlemen, that was 3 hours ago. How do you expect him to remember that? Next question. It was
Big brother covering up for little brother.
Just taking care of the man. Nets off the moorings.
Earlier this year, remember that overtime game, Peter? The Avs tied the game with a second to go on a goal by Sakic. That came on a power play, and Ryan Smith took a penalty on the play, and apparently the referee that night, Don Koharski, was fined $1,000 for calling the penalty on Smith on that particular night. That's something new in the NHL in the last few years. Officials, if they make a big-time mistake, are paying for it.
Well, I think that's something that the referees wouldn't even mind. I mean, so that everybody knows that, because it's a tough enough job, and everyone always criticizes, but everyone knows they're being policed. I think it only speaks well for their integrity, and knowing that, if we do make mistakes, we have to pay too. Just like players may sit out games, maybe, but you can't be fined for a bad play in the National Hockey League. They can't take $20, if you lose a face-off. I would have lost a lot of money, I'll tell you.
If the series goes to 5, it will be back here Sunday, Mother's Day. 5 o'clock start on Fox Sports Rocky Mountain. 5 o'clock pregame and 5:30 with the game. That's next Sunday, Game 5. Here come the Avalanche, leading here 4-1. Yell gains the line. Now beats a man. Really centered the puck for Young, but Joseph gets it. With 37 seconds to go in the minors to Miller and Marchand.
John, I don't remember seeing Stephon Yell carry the puck as much as he has in the playoffs. I mean, that was an end-to-end rush. He took a little pass from Gusarov in the corner, right by the dot. And he skated all the way up, made a nice move across the blue line. When they didn't come right at him, he cut in and had to get sort of pulled down. Otherwise, he was going to walk in. 162 pounds they have in the press guy is a little deceptive too. This guy he goes 185, 190 now. I mean, he's much bigger than that.
Former New Jersey Devil farmhand.
He's at a couple of camps, John, but didn't get a sniff. Did not get a sniff with the Devils. And the Devils are a pretty good judge of talent.
Especially defensive players.
Yes, exactly. So it's very surprising. That was one of those trades people don't talk a lot about. Been a steal for the Avalanche.
Here comes Lefebvre, a shot. And a blocker save by Joseph. Now Forsberg back to Lefebvre again. Lets it go, and that was off a blade in front and wide. And it's back to center. 5:10 to play in regulation time. The Avalanche with a 3-goal lead. And Forsberg, who has a couple of assists in the game. Goals from Young, Kamensky, Lemieux, and Corbet. Doug Wade has scored the lone Edmonton goal. Here's a shot by Murray, gets his own rebound, and a backhander is caught by Waugh. Perhaps Murray showing some frustration after that save.
4-1. You see the Edmonton Oilers bench. Obviously, the altitude can have a physical effect on athletes. It also can have a psychological effect. Edmonton asked for and received before Game 1 and Game 2 an oxygen tank. Most teams don't ask for that when they come in here. Let's go to John and Peter.
4:35 left in the third period. Didn't you have a oxygen tank on the bench one night when you were playing here?
We had an oxygen, it was one of those little balls with just the oxygen mask. And one of the players was, really gasping for air. And the trainer gave it to him, and the player went, oh, man, I feel better. This is great. You got to get more of this. And I look at the trainer and goes, really? It's been empty for 3 years. So that's the psychological part. He thought, I'm getting some pure oxygen, and he wasn't getting anything. That's right down by the dress, but where the Edmonton Oilers or any visiting clubs walk right in. They know right off the bat. There's the oxygen tank right there. I really haven't seen anybody going to it for the Edmonton Oilers.
Again, a lot of teams come here and figure, well, after a day or two, we'll get accustomed to the altitude. But Peter, you think it's the opposite?
I'm not a big believer that you can be here for 1, 3, 4, 5 days and it's going to change. It takes a while to get used to it. And remember, the thing that I always think people kind of forget, John, is that world-class athletes go to Colorado Springs to the Olympic Training Center because of the altitude. Well, the Avalanche have been training now in this altitude for the last 2 years. The other club may feel the effects, but the Avalanche are just being that much better, in that much better shape because of the fact they've been practicing here. And Mark Crawford, he is an absolute stickler for conditioning. That is the one thing. The two things he talks about, Mark Crawford, are conditioning and habits. You've got good work habits, and you're in shape. And Mark Crawford will not talk to you all season as far as getting on your back. You do those two things.
Skip Allen is the strength and conditioning coach of the Avalanche. And Skip told me a few weeks ago that, he's worked with a lot of teams over the years, a lot of football teams, and he said Mark Crawford is one of the coaches, one of the few coaches that really comes to him almost daily and says, how about this guy? Is he working hard? He really pays attention to that area.
I mean, he studied it. He knows what VO2 max, which I haven't got a clue. All I ever knew was mine was awful. He knows what it means to a player. And he knows the effects that it has. I mean, today, for example, John, when the game started, it was 78 degrees, a hot, hot day. The players are going to lose a lot of water weight, and if you're not in good shape, when you get dehydrated, the first thing you lose is those little moves and making the simple, sharp play. And you start logging the puck up the boards and not being able to be as sharp as you want to.
3:39 to play. 4-1, the Avs in control. Despite getting outshot 38-24 in the hockey game.
And that's what Edmonton will take into Game 3, is the fact that they've had 70 shots now against Patrick Waugh in the 2 games. They just haven't been able to finish.
Here's Holtby. Kamenski. Joe Helbig was behind the defense but couldn't get a shot. And the Avs turn it the other way. Denmark nearly squirted up the middle. But now Brian Muir rolls one to the Avs line. An Oiler player is in the zone, so Lindgren has to give it up. And Kamenski with another goal in this game. And he'll kill some time. That's about 4 pirouettes he's done.
And forehand, backhand, come get me. I'm over here. No, I'm over there. Terrific, terrific talent.
And another icing call here. And we get a whistle. Of course, the Oilers in their history, they're in their 18th year. They won 5 cups, but have never won a series when down 2-0.
It's the first time in 5 years. They missed for 4 consecutive years. This is their 39th playoff series. John, you know what their record is? 30-8 in playoff series. I mean, they were unbelievable through the 80s. That club they put together with the skill and talent. There's the guys in the league now from that clubs in 84, 85. They're still having tremendous impact on the entire league. Messier, Gretzky, we had Fuhr in St. Louis. Kevin Lowe was badly missed by Edmonton. He's not playing these games because he's got a broken foot. I mean, all those guys, Curry, Coffey, were on that one team.
You can make an argument that they were the greatest team ever.
And I think certainly the greatest offensive team in the history of the game. I mean, they just scare you to death, shift after shift.
And there's a penalty called against the Avalanche. Bookberger on the delayed call. Joseph goes off. Now back for Smith, the extra man. The return feed to Smith. A quick shot. Oh, good save there by Waugh. Rebound at Tchaikovsky. And it pinballs toward Waugh. And he'll hold on.
Well, a minute 57 to go. Edmonton hasn't quit. You don't expect a young team like that to do it. But again, Patrick Waugh, he came into this series 5-2 in the playoffs, looking for his 92nd playoff victory. He's past the 8,900 minute mark. As far as minutes played, those are both records along with 144 games. I mean, it just goes on and on for Patrick Waugh, who, in talking to people around the league, this remark first came from Craig Billington, and I didn't even think about it at the time. Waugh's now been around for a good long time. He may just be coming into his prime now. And I've asked other people who know Patrick Waugh and said they've never seen him at a better spot in his career as far as making the save, focused, and just, really on top of his game.
He's just 31.
Yeah.
People like Fuhr and Moog are playing 35, 36, 37.
He made a big comment about how well Andy Moog was at the All-Star game and, was playing so well. He said, hey, that gives me 6 more years in this league.
And there's an offside with 1:29 to play in the third.
Edmonton is the only Canadian team left, so there's a lot of Canadian. We've got French-Canadian TV. We've got Hockey Night in Canada here today. They did a doubleheader. They picked up the Devil Ranger game first. Now they picked up this one. When we get back to Edmonton, it's be interesting to see how this club handles the pressure. Edmonton. There's going to be a lot of buildup over the course of the next 2 games. If they lose game 3, they know they're done. They have to win game 3. Young club, a lot of media, a lot of attention on their play. It'll be very interesting to see how they handle a couple of days off, practice, and game 3, especially early game 3.
And reports are that the local Edmonton media was very critical of the Oilers' play in game 1. Which in a way is a bit unfair of a young team like this, but that's life.
Yeah, that's really unfair after the series that they had against Dallas. You've got to know you're going to come out a little flat in game 1 of the next series.
A minute to go. Good glove save there by Waugh on Waite. 50 seconds to go here. Edmonton on a power play. They're 0 for 3 in the game. 0 for 7 in the series. In front again. Waugh, the pad save on Kovalenko. And the Avalanche carry it back to center. Here's Gusarov. Knocked off his stick by Smith. And Waugh well out of the goal. He'll get some help from Gusarov, and he'll clear it up the wing, but not out. Wait with it. Here comes Wait with 20 seconds to play. Oilers not moving on the power play. Wait into the corner to Smith. Now for Wait. And he fanned on it, and Denmark, with 10 to go, makes a nice move. Now another move. Here he comes. And he dove and couldn't get a shot. And that is going to do it. The game is over. And Mike Keane gets involved after the whistle. But the Avalanche have won 4-1 and lead it 2-0 in the best-of-7 affair.
Well, they won 5-1 and 4-1. Lemieux had goals in both games. He had the game winner in the last game. Tonight it's Kamensky who gets the game winner as the Forsberg line continues to lead the way for the Avalanche.
Tonight's Discover card, payback, playback.
Well, the Avalanche needed the big play at the right time. Here's going to be the power play goal. This is just as pretty a goal as you're going to see. Kamensky takes it off his foot, and Lemieux driving towards the net. And when he's on fire, he seems to be able to get by himself and doesn't waste any time. That was a big one. That made it 3-1. They seemed to put Edmonton away in this hockey game.
Well, in round one, the Avalanche won the first 2 games on home ice and then let the Hawks back in the series before winning in 6. They've done the same here in round 2. A 2-0 lead with a 4-1 win. Edmonton had 21 shots in the third period and 43 in the game.